them kids. Hello, beautifuls. My name is Giselle, co-host of the Strong Sunflowers podcast and founder of G is for Growth. And I was just kidding, okay? I was just kidding. Don't come for me. I just wanted to make a video about this because nowadays more and more people are deciding to live a childless free life or to have like maybe one or two, okay? These 5 kidders out here is looking rough. I feel like my views on children have changed so many times just because I grew up in communist Cuba, and by the time I left the island at 6, I wasn't really thinking about having kids. Of course, I was 6. But when I came to the States, I joined the Mormon church. So I was part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And growing up religious, I mean, you get married young. So I got married to my first boyfriend at 19. And you start talking about having children really early on. And I remember I was like, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. And my idea of like having children then was like, oh my gosh, how cool would it be to have like, I always wanted 2 just because my mom had 2, but then you get into these really big families and it's so much fun. And I was like, oh my gosh, how much fun would it be to have 5 kids? And then I was like, hell nah. And then I was like, maybe 3, like 2 in an accident. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe 1. Let's try with 1. And then I'm like, okay, I think right now I'm at 2 still. I'm at 2, but we're gonna try it out with 1. Even though I joke a lot with this topic, I still believe that marriage is really important and that family and motherhood and being a mom is literally one of the highest honors and privileges that you can get on this earth. And I hope one day I get to have that honor. But without further ado, let's begin. Let's dig in to this topic. And I'm the first one to tell you, like, kids are annoying, okay? Kids are a lot. They are a lot. They desire all your time, your money, your energy, your attention. They need you for literally everything. You are their life support. The other day I went to brunch with my friend and she was talking to me about her child. And I was like, dude, having a kid sounds like you are literally God and you have created this world, that it's a world on its own and it has its free agency and you just have to watch it. And just be like, hey, like, don't do that. And then the older they get to do their own decisions, but you can't really control what they do. You just can just wish for the best and pray. Even giving all of our time and attention and all these things at the same time, I'm not a parent yet, but it's just such an incredible and amazing experience to be literally someone's everything. You are their teacher, you are their doctor, you are everything that they need when they need it. And what an amazing position that you are to create life. First of all, you are literally creating life inside of you. I am a total believer that when you become a mother, even like that first second, it's just a game changer. I just feel it in my bones. I know it's gonna change my life. And like I said, I come from a religious background. So I remember growing up and my husband at the time did want children earlier on. And I was like, no, like I don't want children like right now. Being a mother is such a privilege and an honor and blah, 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 blah. I still stand to all of this because being a mother, it is such a privilege and an honor. But just by going to therapy and reevaluating my life and just looking at my life as a whole, I think even though it sounded pretty and cute and oh my gosh, lovely, being a mother is such a privilege, I was bringing it from a source of trauma. I grew up with a single mom. When we moved here from Cuba, I didn't have a dad, but then I got 2 dads because then I had my grandpa here and then my mom started dating this other guy and he was like my dad, but still not my real dad. My mom worked all the time, so she was not present. I feel like financially we were not stable, and on top of that, the household was not mentally stable. So my mom has her own trauma and drama that she has to deal with and that she hasn't. She just turned 48 and still hasn't healed from that, and all that trauma is affecting everything in her life. And I grew up with that. I grew up with all of that, and I grew up with needing and wanting and longing and really having that mother hunger. And one of the things, I made a video about this, but one of the things that I learned through therapy is that it's kind of like this generational trauma in my family from generation to generation, because I don't really talk to my mom, and my mom doesn't talk to her mom, and my mom's mom didn't talk to her mom, and so on and so forth. And it definitely is stopping with me, and it's breaking with me. And I think when it comes to children and a family, is such a touchy subject for a lot of people, but especially for me, just because at the same time, I know that I can't control everything, but I am truly trying to focus on the things that I can control. And I can control just me working on myself and being prepared. Even though they say like, you're never prepared to be a parent. And motherhood is just something that you have to experience to be able to, like, all the emotions. Like, I have 9 godchildren, you guys, 9 godchildren. And I love them all to death. Some of them are a pain in my ass, but I will die and kill for those children. Like, I love them so much. They are, they bring so much joy into my life. And I always think of, like, if I love my godchildren that much, like, imagine how much I'm gonna love my children. I think as an adult, if we don't heal and do the work on ourselves, that does trickle down to our kids. You know, our traumas becomes our kids' traumas because we haven't healed. And it's hard to parent. It's hard to parent when you don't have the foundation or the people in your field to help you. And that's something that I've learned from just doing the podcast with Santa at the Strong Sunflowers and interviewing so many moms, and knowing that, like, if you don't have a strong foundation, not only of the people around you or who you are, like, motherhood can and it will break you, depending, you know, and you will lose yourself for some time. And a lot of them have found themselves back, and that's amazing. But I think that's one of the big things that I always keep in mind. I'm like, I don't want to lose myself. And this self-reflection came just recently. For the last couple of months, every time I see a mom that have multiple children, I'm either like, what the fuck? Or I'm like, she hates her life. Like, why would you do this to herself? Like, this is horrible. Like, oh my gosh. So, like, all these negative connotations with it. And it made me think, I'm like, Giselle, why do you see so much of the negative? Because yes, don't get me wrong, parenthood and all these things, I don't like it when people just focus on all the good and the miraculous and all these things. Like, kids are amazing, but they're also a pain in the ass, and they're also a lot of work. So, like, I don't want to sugarcoat that part, but is it 100% worth it? It's fucking 100% worth it. Or so I hear. I haven't done that yet. But I was like, why are you so focused on the negative part? And then that's where I unraveled this, like, trauma from my childhood just creeping in again in these adult years, you know? But that self-awareness is what truly helps you be able to see. And I'm like, I'm having these feelings out of fear. The mom that I see with 5 kids or 4 kids that's at the park and doing her damn thing and still working out, taking her kids to the park and going to school, like, and doing all these things, it's just bringing out the fear in you because you're scared. It's not so much, oh, I don't want to cry. It's not so much that you can't do it, is that the thought of you doing it, it's so scary. Just bring the thought of creating life is so scary to me. But again, being my own therapist now, it's like, why is it so scary? And I go back to my childhood. It's like, I'm scared because I want to be mentally capable of being there for my children. I want to be able to be present with my children. I want to be able to go to the sport events. I want to be able to buy the things and do the things. I want to be able to spend the time. And that's where, another hand, like, money is so important. Like, I don't want to have children if I can't afford them. It's not enjoyable for me. It's not enjoyable for them. And my kids deserve better. They 120% deserve better. But just realizing, and that realization was just from like a couple of weeks ago, that even though I wasn't saying these negative thoughts out loud, they were up here, and I'm like, why are you so focused on those negative thoughts? You don't know if this mom of 7 hates her life. You know, the chaos, yes. Is there chaos? Yes. But that doesn't mean that there's not joy, that there's no fulfillment, that, you know, and I know these things. But because of that trauma, I was just focusing on that, the negative parts. Not only financially, like even thinking of bringing a child into this world just like stresses me out. Because financially, I know that right now I am only capable of taking care of myself. And the job that I have right now, I have to personally be there. If I'm not working, I cannot provide. I know that when I get pregnant, I can't really work as much as I do now and do all the things. Like, so that's another big thing. Like making sure that I'm with somebody and that we create life together, that I create life together with someone that can provide. Like, I do not want to bring a child into this world with someone that can't provide. If you don't have your financials together, if you cannot provide for a family as a man, like it's not gonna work for me. It's not gonna work for me. And that anxiety, the anxiety of that, it's the fear. It's the fear, again, from my childhood of being a single mom, not being able to provide for my kids. My father wasn't able to provide because he's in Cuba, in communist Cuba. It's like he didn't have a choice, you know? But just like being a single mom with no help. Those are like the things that go through my head. And I know there are like a whole bunch of negative things and I'm working on that, but they're valid things. I just want my kids to have everything that I didn't have growing up. So what am I doing now? As a 28 childless divorcee, what am I doing now to prepare for this? Exactly that. I am preparing to be a mother, to be a wife, to be a part of a family, you know, creating my own family. And how special is that? How special is that I get to create my own family? So I think the number one thing is getting to know me. And this is my etapa, my época, my season to be selfish, and I can do that. So I just get to focus on me. I get to focus on what does Giselle like, what Giselle doesn't like, and just be more self-aware and really know myself in depth. So I know that I love my alone time. Okay, so maybe 5 kids are not for me, but hey, let's start with 1 and we'll find out. Okay. I love my alone time. I know that I love to travel. Traveling costs money. So, cha-ching, I need some money. And my favorite form of exploration is traveling. And I want to travel with my kids. I want that for them. But for now, like, I don't really want to freaking travel to Peru and hike Machu Picchu with a 2-year-old. You know, so hey, I already went to Machu Picchu. Maybe my next experience can be with my 7, 10-year-old. But like, these are experiences that I already had in my life that I can get both sides. I think one of the biggest things is that people start having kids because they don't think about this other side of things, whether it's mentally prepared and just working on yourself so you can be there for someone else. And then they let go of their goals and their dreams. And then they're like, oh, I really want to do that. And even though some people may not say it, I know you're thinking it, like you are not feeling fulfilled because even though you have the kids and the family, you are not fulfilled in you. Because you as a human being, you have goals and aspirations and dreams and things that you love too. And from the podcast too, we've interviewed a lot of moms that's exactly what they did. They became a mother and then they let themselves go in the sense of like, they stopped doing the things that they loved, the things that brought them so much joy. And again, your kids bring you joy too, but there's other things in this world that you, not anybody else, but you also love. So I think that's super important, having a field that's gonna support me. So that's what I'm creating right now. I'm surrounding myself with really deep connections and people that I love and women that I love and I know that are gonna be there for me when I'm like, I need help at 2 a.m. My baby won't stop crying and I don't know what the hell it is. But yeah, creating that space, traveling and seeing the world. I don't wanna feel like, oh, I missed out. Like, no. This is my single era. This is the time that I get to just spend it on myself and be selfish. Do that. Do that. I want to do it now, because when I have the kids and the family and the house and the husband, like, I don't want to act like I'm 25. No, I've been there, done that. I did everything that I wanted to do. I am doing everything that I want to do. So I just want to make sure that I'm working on me, not only for me, but for my future husband and for my future children. And I just want to leave this video with a poem that I wrote for just that, my future children. I hope you guys like it, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. I hope my future children know I love them, even before they were born, that I healed not only for myself, but for them. I hope they feel seen, heard, and understood. I hope they know their opinions matter, that they're small but mighty. I hope I encourage them to always strive for more, to be authentically themselves without judgment, to think of me as a safe space for growth, to think of me as home. I hope they get to experience my highest self, a person that overflows into them in abundance. I pray my cup is always more than full. I pray I save space for them, for their goals, for their dreams. I wish for them everything I ever want.